Hello, welcome back to the Countdown to Ironman Lake Placid video series. My name is Joe from Endurance Mentors, and today we're going to be talking about should you be doing any kind of racing in your Ironman training leading up to your big race. So we recently put a blog post up about it, which we'll go through here today, and I hope you all find this helpful. So first and foremost, the big question is, should you incorporate racing into your Ironman training plan? Is it beneficial? And I will say 100% yes. I personally, every time I've gone through an Ironman training cycle, I've always included racing at multiple different levels. And most people are either considering doing sprint triathlons, Olympic distance triathlons, or 70.3 distance triathlons in their Ironman buildup. Here's a couple things that I'll just say. First of all, sprint and Olympic are short enough that I think you can just add in at any time. Quite frankly, you can. They're kind of a good test of your speed. They're a good challenge because you're going to race those at a kind of a faster pace than you would say like a 70.3, and they're not coming with a huge fatigue load on your body. They're kind of short enough to incorporate directly into your race plan, even to just replace maybe one of your workouts within your Ironman training. 70.3 I think about a little bit differently, but I think this is something that you actually should do. Incorporating 70.3s is something you need to take a little bit more seriously within training, and something that you just have to plan a little bit better for. So again, sprint Olympic, I really think you can throw them in anywhere. 70.3 is a little bit of a different deal. So a couple of quick things just about 70.3. Especially for those first time athletes going for the Ironman distance, training for an Ironman. In your head, you are still just worried about, can I make it to the finish line for a lot of people? 70.3, if you can complete one and you can do it well, it actually gives you a nice little mental boost. I think that like a checkbox, like, okay, I did it. I did half of one. Now I can be prepared to go do the full race. So I think mentally the 70.3 definitely gives you an edge. So incorporating a 70.3 race, say in the ballpark of 8 to 4 weeks out from your full race, I think is a real positive. There's a couple different questions that come up though when it comes to 70.3. And the first is kind of how to approach it. Like, should I taper going into a 70.3? Here's what I think. I think that any 70.3 distance race that you're incorporating into your Ironman training plan, you should take seriously. You should taper into that race. Maybe not a full length Ironman taper, okay? But certainly maybe tapering for a week going into that race. You want to step on the start line to learn something in your 70.3 that you can take to the Ironman distance. Quite frankly, if you are going into this race too fatigued, you're going to take away lessons that may not be applicable when you go to do your full Ironman. So try to simulate how you're going to get to the start line in your full Ironman race. So I say definitely taper into the race, get there fully ready to execute in a rested way. When you're doing the race, 100% put your best foot forward. Even though this is a race that's kind of in training, I think you do want to walk away from it feeling proud of your results and proud of how you did. So when it comes to intensity, typically in a 70.3, you're going to race that at a slightly higher intensity than you would, say, an Ironman race, but not too much more. Okay, for us regular age group athletes, quite frankly, if we're aiming to finish, you might bring up the intensity level a little bit for a 70.3, but certainly if it's something that you're excited about and you want to feel that sense of accomplishment, just go for it. Quite frankly, if you're excited about it, just go for it. If you really are approaching the 70.3 and maybe it's just a race that you want to check the box on, not like a total bucket list race that you've fit into your Ironman training calendar, I think a good maybe rule of thumb or a good way to think about your race intensity is to break it up. I like to take the swim and the bike and just say, go as hard as you like. Quite frankly, I think that those are the lower impact activities. Swimming hard and in a pack of people is going to be a unique experience for a lot of people. For me, anyway, in my first Ironman, that was one of in my lead up to the first Ironman, I should say, when I did also my first 70.3, it was a big learning experience. So get out there and see what you can do, mix it up in the swim. The bike, I really feel the same way. Go ahead, go after the bike. Give yourself a challenge. But when you get to the run, here's where I think it's worth thinking about your intensity and potentially giving yourself a cap for how hard to run. Typically, this would be done through like heart rate, okay, but you could also do it by RPE. Say like, hey, listen, I'm not going to run more than a 5 out of 10. I'm going to take it a little bit easier. The fatigue that you get from running is really, really high. And I've absolutely learned over the years that you have to take it easy on the run. Quite frankly, if you want to get back into training more quickly after, say, a 70.3, that run will really last and kind of stay in your legs. And the reality is, let's say you're doing this 6 weeks out from an Ironman, you really only have time for like one more significant block afterwards. So you don't want to completely drain all of your energy reserves. You want to make sure that you can recover after the 70.3, which, yes, is necessary. Definitely give yourself a full day, a couple days of full recovery, and then kind of even some more days of easing back into that Ironman training. But if you held back on the run a little bit and gave yourself a little bit of buffer from a fatigue standpoint by just capping the intensity of the run, you'll be able to get back to full on Ironman training a little bit faster. Okay. Another thing to think about in the 70.3 and where I think one of the best opportunities that a 70.3 presents is your nutrition. This is a perfect opportunity to nail down your nutrition ahead of the Ironman. Whatever your nutrition plan is for the Ironman, do that in the 70.3 exactly. Even if you feel like you're taking in a little bit too much because you're not going to be going for 15 hours or however long it is, right? We all go about it a little bit differently, but 100% plan that out and use this as an opportunity to work out the kinks, whether it's nutritionally, whether it's like, how do you approach an aid station? How do you carry enough liquids? How, work out all those little kinks. Use the same equipment. Make sure that you're comfortable with all of that equipment, because when you get to the start line of your full Ironman, you want to make sure that you feel prepared. And quite frankly, a 70.3 is an awesome way to get some of that confidence and just have that little mental knowledge that will say like, hey, listen, I've done this before. I've executed this plan before, and I know I can execute it again today, even though it's going to be a longer day. So much of an Ironman is mental, and being able to not have so many question marks going into an Ironman will help you immensely in your execution on that day. All right, thanks. I hope you find this helpful. Again, incorporating racing into your Ironman training plan is a fantastic idea. Again, sprints, Olympics, throw them in there, get going, have some fun, mix it up a little bit. 70.3, I say go for it as well, but make sure you're thinking about some of these things a little more thoroughly and use them as a great learning experience so that when you get to the full distance, you're good to go. Thanks all. Appreciate it.